Hi guys, so we are just waiting for a few people to jump on. But yeah, this evening we will be talking to Nanga from Luna Agency and we'll be discussing e-commerce advertising. There we go. Let me just request to join. I hope he's got my invitation. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Lovely. How are you doing?
Are you comfortable? I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. No complaints.
Are you nice and comfortable? Are you ready to bestow your wisdom upon us?
I am. I don't think there's anything to be nervous about. But yeah, thanks for having me on. I assume
Yeah,
we should do this on podcast form as well. It'll be interesting.
I know we should. When I'm back in Joburg, then we can definitely do this in a proper format.
Sure.
That's not so, on the fly.
Sure.
But yeah, I think for those of you that are just joining now, this is Nanga. He's from Luna Agency. So we're going to be discussing essentially e-commerce advertising this evening. And yeah, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below, and I'll try to moderate that as we get through this live. Yeah. So Nanga, I think we can start. Can you introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and obviously what Luna Agency does?
Sure. Uh, yeah, I don't know where to begin. I think in a nutshell, Luna Digital's we've kind of grown. I think as of the last 2 months, we've kind of really niched into the e-commerce agency side of things. We kind of niche ourselves as e-commerce growth partner. But upon inception, we're running paid ads. We're a performance agency for the longest of time, running ads for e-commerce brands and some retail brands, and some, I guess, your lead businesses that want leads. So I'm sure you guys might be familiar with Dot Shore as well. They're a company that were clients of ours at some point. Oh, sorry about that. A second-hand car dealership. I think they're also quite big in Gauteng. Eagle Corner. Um, it's such a weird way. Sorry, it's such a weird thing to ask. Like, wait, what's your business? We're an e-commerce growth partner. We help businesses run paid ads, and
Mhm.
yeah, and I guess increase their bottom line revenue. We're a team of five. We've grown, so we're a nimble agency as well. So as opposed to your bigger agencies that focus on social media management and PR, etc., we really just niche down um, into just performance marketing. We're a team of five. We've got two media buyers, email marketing specialist, and on a day today, man, I think we're just hungry every day to go out there and help people make more money.
So, quick question. I mean, you mentioned you had niched down in the last 2 months. Was that something you identified with the pandemic and kind of where businesses were heading?
Good
Obviously, all online and that, or was there a different strategy attached to
Good
it?
question. I think for a lot of businesses, not just ours, when lockdown hit and COVID hit last year, it was a show for everyone. And around that time, we had started niching in paid advertising, but we didn't really actually know the full capabilities, if that makes sense. Because we're saying, yeah, paid ads, but at the same time, as you grow a business, you want to add in more services so that you can capitalize on more revenue. And COVID hit, we had lost like 40-50% of our business. But the ones that stayed and we continued running ads for were the most aggressive brands, I would say, the ones that actually wanted to grow. And they had doubled, if not tripled, their sales over those like 3-4 months when people were locked in. So we knew we were onto
Wow.
something. And then as we've just grown, we've started filtering out, like as a business as well, you start filtering out businesses and clients that you don't want to work with, and you start taking on board clients that you do want to take on board. And over the
Mm.
last 6 months, 98% of our clients are e-commerce focused. And so we got to the point of saying, how do we differentiate ourselves? Like everyone's saying they're a digital marketing agency, or we're a social media marketing agency, or we're a
Mm.
Facebook ad agency. Um, and we sat down and said, why don't you just niche as an e-commerce growth partner? Like those are all in the nuances, communication, etc. So yeah, that was probably over the last 2-3 months that we've started really focusing on helping businesses, not just from a paid advertising side. So this comes in, we run email marketing for them as well. We do SEO for them. So everything that, it, I guess, falls under the e-commerce niche that drives revenue.
I love it. I love it. For those of you that are just joining, we are chatting to Nanga from Luna Digital, and we're discussing e-commerce advertising. So we're going to kind of tap into Nanga's secret sauce now and kind of pick his brain a little. So off the top of your head, top 3 things to focus on your site that will kind of, result in conversion essentially.
Sure.
What are the little tweaks that we can make?
Sure. I think this is a big thing. I think we'll have a lot of prospects come to us, right? And the first thing that we do is we assess the website, because a lot of them will complain and say, we've been running ads, but they're not converting, and, we're not sure our conversion rate is really low. And then you look at the site and it's appalling. A few things, or a few optimizations you could make to your website. So as a customer, and I always say, look at it from a customer's point of view. Like if I had to hop onto a site, does it display trust? No. How does it display trust? Probably get influencers above the fold. So for those of you who don't know maybe what above and below the fold is when you hop onto a website, the first page that you see, that is everything above the fold. So everything, I guess, below when you scroll, I would include models or photos of people for it to be engaging. Adding a nice custom video for your brand. So if you're in the skincare, or if you're in let's say you're a lifestyle brand and you sell eyewear, for example, I would create some sort of sleek little video that you would mute and let that play in the background so it grabs attention. Because I think what most brands don't, I won't say they don't understand, but gets to last, which is you've got to grab attention on the first touch point, or else when they come back to the store, they might not actually purchase, and you want them to purchase the first time. You want to have a call to action on the homepage as well, so above the fold, so a shop now or purchase this now. Generally with most e-commerce brands, if you shop online, you'll see there's a button. The minute you go on the site, it says shop now. You need that. What else? You want to optimize your theme as well. Something very nuancy, but don't use a black background, use a white background, for example. There's something about the white background with accents or additional accents that, psychologically make people want to purchase. So I'll do that as well. Claire, to be honest, this is
you gave us the top 3.
Yeah. No, but this is what I would do, to be very honest with you. It's the little things, Aiden. What I would do is Shopify and WordPress on all of these big companies. Like now you have companies that do web dev, right? But they charge an arm and a leg. Go in and purchase a theme, because generally if you go purchase a theme, it will have all the optimizations needed. The pages are pre-built. All you've got to do is change the content and the copy.
100%. Actually, now that you mentioned themes, I came across Shoptimizer the other day, which has all the optimizations built in already. And I was just like, oh, this is fab. Now I don't have to physically go and build something. And it just reduces our turnaround time as well. And what I wanted to ask, you mentioned obviously, using influencers and obviously like really good imagery. So what is your take on, essentially being, I want to say, a startup within the e-commerce space? You're starting out, you may not maybe have budget for videography and photography. Is the likes of using stock photography from a Pixels or Unsplash something that, you can get away with? Or how do you feel about that?
So... No, okay. So I guess that depends on what you're trying to build, right? Are you trying to build a lifestyle brand? And by lifestyle, are you trying to build a brand, or are you trying to build a shop? I think that's different. If you're trying to build a shop, you'll get into drop shipping, because you can then pull custom photos. If you're trying to build a brand, you want it to be authentic. You want it to be relatable. A stock image of me drinking coffee doesn't display, any emotion, etc. So I probably wouldn't. If I was starting a brand from scratch and I didn't have budget, I would, your phone. As little as having your phone shoot content would be great. If you don't have a good phone, I'm sure you know someone who does, and I would shoot content from scratch. You have friends that are more than willing to be models, and I guess literally you live in a world where you can just walk anywhere and shoot content. So I wouldn't pull stock images. I'd make an effort to actually, yeah, I'd make an effort to actually create good content.
Okay, no, awesome. I love that. And okay, on to the next one. What essentially would you say is the advertising trends that have emerged in 2021 for e-commerce stores that they should adopt during this time
Emerging trends for e-commerce stores. It's quite interesting
in
from
terms
an
of
advertising
advertising?
perspective. So obviously, you had iOS 14 come
Advertising, yeah.
around, and that's kind of affected results for a
Mm.
lot of people. I mean, listen, TikTok is a big platform as well, right? We haven't dabbled in TikTok just yet, to be very honest with you. We just really focus on the Facebook and Google side of things.
Mm.
But from videos that I do watch, you know, I'm always trying to upskill myself. I am seeing TikTok become a big player, and I think it's worth it because in the advertising game, it's about cost per impression and click-through rates. How cheap can you get the click-through through to your site whilst competing against other brands? So it's industry specific as well, right? The skincare and the beauty scene is a lot more expensive than it is potentially in the, let's say, pet food industry to run ads. Emerging trends. TikTok, I would say, is one. iOS 14, that is just a hurdle. I think it becomes about placements. I think brands are starting to be open to YouTube ads as well. I'm starting to see Investec. So I'm starting to see old corporate brands starting to use the channels or specific mediums of advertising as the old school ways. So like I said, I'm seeing Investec ads on YouTube, but still run the same way as TV ads. Doesn't make sense, but the platforms have just changed.
We've got a question here from Farah asking, what do you think of Triller as an advertising platform? Have you
Good
guys
question. No, we have not. So we very, I won't say we don't, I won't say we think in the box, but we delivering value on platforms that are working currently at the moment. Triller, I know, is also very brand specific. So probably I'd use Triller more in the streetwear, apparel, lifestyle scene, just because of the type of platform it is. I know Triller's been a big player in lifestyle brands, but I wouldn't. Again, it comes back to what are you trying to achieve with your brand? Are you trying to build a brand, or are you trying to generate revenue? If you're trying to generate revenue, we've had clients tell us we don't want to use Facebook or only use Google because we're seeing it's converting a lot more. We have some people that only want to use Facebook. We have brands that only want to use LinkedIn, for example, because that's where their audience is.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. And tell me, sorry, it's just slightly off topic, but it's within the space that we're talking about. What have you seen, obviously, just in terms of, again, I would say over 2020 and 2021, the rising niches within the e-commerce space? I know fashion is really massive in South Africa. Are there others that you've come across in terms of your clients where you can see there's just, an uptake in a specific industry or niche for that matter?
I think e-commerce in general. I can't pin it down to niche. I'd say e-commerce in general. I think not only retail brands going online, but people being able to start their own brands online and having that opportunity to actually make cash. I'm seeing that growing. Industry specific, I would say, I don't know, it varies to the client. We've got a client that makes 35 more a year. And we were able to double that revenue over last year. So that was quite crazy. We actually created a case study. My business partner, who I think is still on the call, made a video about it, where we took a brand from, they were making about 50 million per annum in 2019, joined us beginning of last year, and were able to double that over the year during COVID, right? So it's skincare as well. I mean, we've seen a skincare brand spend as little as 30,000 Rand on advertising and make back 800,000 Rand. And that's just paid advertising. But given that, I know part of that strategy was using influencer marketing, which is quite key. That's potentially also an emerging market that brands should jump on board. And one thing I would advise if you are starting a brand, don't look at paid influencer marketing. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It does. I will keep my mouth quiet because I think I'd say stuff about the SA market which get me in trouble. But there's very few influencers that can actually correlate direct revenue from something, right? What I would do is in affiliate marketing. So I'll tell the influencer, listen, I'm not going to pay you anything up front. Let's create your own affiliate link and you drive revenue, but you'll also earn part of that. So I own a skincare brand, say, listen, Cleo, do you mind being an influencer? I won't pay you anything up front, but I'll give you a Cleo 10 coupon code or affiliate code, and you'll use that part of your whenever you create content around the brand, and all the purchases that come from that, you make 10, 20, 30% of the rev.
Can I throw in a controversial question? Because you mentioned influencers, and funny enough, it was a call I had yesterday with another e-commerce partner.
Sure.
And in your opinion, where do you see the influencer market going? Because I know some people, and obviously this is the discussion we had, some people are saying, it's very difficult to almost associate with some influencers because they're endorsing everything these days. So how do you, I was also going to say, pick and choose somebody that's authentic, that can drive your brand for you without, kind of getting lost amongst all the other brand partnerships?
Do you know what I think? I think a lot of brands also, I feel like a lot of brands they don't have a clear strategy when it comes to influencer marketing, right? They're not identifying influencers by their niche, by their audience, and then once you identify all of those, how does that communication, how do their communication align with yours? You seeing influencers, they're in the, I don't know, I mean, cheapers, a lot of South African influencers in the beauty space. But then you're pushing alcohol or you're pushing something else. Like, it doesn't make sense. So I think it's on both ends. I think influencers should also take accountability and say no to it, because it will deter from what your audience wants. Where I see it going is affiliate marketing. Influencer marketing would turn into affiliate marketing. Like, I think the best way for an influencer to maximize their revenue with the brand is to actually own a piece of the revenue that they generate. That's what we're doing as an agency, right? So we say, listen, pay us a fix. We've got a fix plus a performance bonus, and that performance bonus is you incentivizing us on the revenue we were able to generate for you. And I think that's when influencers start becoming aware of that. I wouldn't do a straight up deal. So I might go in and say, listen, give me a fixed fee. It doesn't have to be a high. So let's say I used to charge 300K. Give me 50K, but then give me 10, 15% of all the revenue I generate for you. And I'm pretty sure the ones that are driving a lot of revenue for these brands will make a lot more upside than their once-off payments.
There's actually, like, what you're mentioning, and I know it's a bit of a far-fetched comparison, but just like listening to what you're saying, I don't know if you saw, I think it was on one of these, millionaire Instagram type pages, and they spoke about the deal that, what is her name, Beyonce did with Netflix. So instead of getting paid, she wanted shares. So essentially buying into company revenue instead of just getting paid once off, for the one post or video that you do. So in the end, I do think it is a win-win, just based on what you're saying, just in terms of affiliate marketing. It is quite a lucrative space to be in.
We were on an onboarding call today with a client in the US, and he was saying that as much as he wants to drive Facebook ads for bringing in new revenue, he wants to focus a lot on his affiliate marketing. It's $1 million per year, $1 million business per annum, and a lot of that revenue comes from affiliate marketing. And he believes him building his relationships with these influencers and giving them affiliate codes will drive a lot more revenue. I thought it was very smart, and I think that's what a lot of brands should do. And I think, again, if you run a small business and you've got your own online store, I'd look into that heavily. Identify micro influencers. There's a lot of people sitting on like 3,000, 4,000, even up to 10,000 followers that have an audience of maybe 100, 200
great
people.
Community.
But if you pick 50 of them, you give them all code. That's all strategy. But 50 of them, give them all a code. Yeah, you have nothing to lose.
Okay. Now tell me, if somebody's watching this live, or anybody watching this live, and they obviously, let's call it a solo, before I continue, best advice on contacting these individuals. This is from Yajna, I think. Yeah,
Yaj, I'd reach them on all. Okay, it depends. This is a bit cheeky. So I would shoot an Instagram DM. If they don't respond, generally a lot of them have their email addresses. If they don't, and they have a LinkedIn, this is a minor strategy, but again, some of them might have managers. You could go on LinkedIn. You could use an email scraper. There's tools for it. Literally type in email scraper on Google. It will allow you to pull personal emails and you're able to reach out to them if their details aren't there. But that's only if they have a LinkedIn. I don't know if this works for Facebook accounts. I don't think so. But yeah, my best bet is probably reaching out to them on Instagram and actually give value. Like I feel like a lot of people reach out to influencers without actually stating why you're reaching out to them.
Yeah. I actually like that. Like I also get annoyed if people just, send me a hi.
Sure.
And you're just like, okay, I get quite a few DMs a day. Can you be specific?
Yeah,
So 100%
sure.
understand that. And especially again, if you're in an influencer's DMs, can you imagine the traffic that they have then, all the noise? What is he saying?
I
Fam?
tapped in. No, it's a friend of mine.
What? Fam, I tapped in. Oh, I was like, what is happening? Sorry. So my other question was going to be, obviously for those starting out essentially, or are just coming into the space and they don't have, big business ad agency type money. Do you guys as Luna or yourself offer these services, that can assist them, or perhaps courses or resources that they can get their hands on?
Interesting you mentioned that. I'll come back to Yajna's. Yes, we do. So what we've done now, which was, I guess with all business, you always have to innovate, right? I don't think there's always just one particular way of of driving a service. So we've come up with what we call the e-com incubator. It wasn't coined by us. I think in life you see many different ideas and you piece them together and you say, how does it work for you? But our e-com incubator is our mentorship consulting program. So what we've done is we're heading to the space of courses, of building our own courses, because our team is very well versed. We've been in the space for, we haven't been as in the marketing scene for as long as some other agencies, but in the 2 years, just over 2 years, we've been able to drive a lot of rev for people. So we know a lot of learning. So we've got a course that we want to build out, or we're in the process of building out, which isn't your basic, listen, go on YouTube, how do I run Facebook ads? It's actually what we do, how we scale brands. And then the byproduct of that is our mentorship program. And where that's a key player is a lot of brands that come to us aren't a good fit. So we've become very stringent in who we work with. We don't just take on anyone anymore. I think at the beginning we did because we just wanted money. Now we're God bless, we're in a very good position where we're able to drive away business if it doesn't work for both of us. And it's not because we're arrogant and saying, oh yeah, we're the best, but it's, you will run at a loss. Like there's something that a friend of ours coined and now we've started adapting, but it's, you got to do the marketing math, which is, it's all good and well saying, yeah, I want to run ads. Cool. You've got a budget, let's say 10,000 Rand, right? Your cost of goods are 50%, your margin plus shipping, so your margins are actually 30-40%, plus our agency fees you've got to pay us. And then the returns of products, and there's all these small crinks and cracks of costs that add up. And at the end of the day, when you do the maths, you actually see that you're running at a loss if your margins aren't really good. So we turn businesses away. But as opposed to turning them away and saying no, what we've done is, in the process of what we're trying to do is we're trying to downsell them essentially to this mentorship program. So instead of doing it for you, we'll do it with you. So it's every 2 weeks, a bi-weekly Zoom call that you buy into. This would get access to myself and the team. And in those, obviously they're very structured, but would go over what we've learned. And more, it's more a Q&A session, because I feel like a lot of brands also want to keep things in-house, right? But they want an agency and they don't want to outsource and pay for the knowledge, but they want to keep it in-house. So this is such a blend of the mix, you know what I mean? Saying, listen, keep it in-house, do what you need to do. We'll just tell you what to press and you'll press it, quote unquote. Not as simple, but man, it's just targeting the part of the market where we want to upskill people without you having to, go through the cracks.
But I like that you almost have, like, let's call it a budget or a low end offering that still helps, I'm not going to say the solo entrepreneur or the smaller businesses, because at the end of the day, they could still have the potential to be the next,
they could
big e-commerce online
but
store,
you know what? They could, but it still all comes down to revenue. Like I wouldn't and I'm going to be very honestly, I'm going to be biased. Like I wouldn't join us if one, you're also not in the position to do it. Like if you've never run ads, if you're still at the startup of your business, like first build your business, first get the free resources out there. I don't think one should pay for coaching up front if you haven't got the basics. It's a waste of cash.
I love that. That's actually really great advice. We've got one of the guy, I think his name is Rob. I'm probably not saying it right. But he wants to know, what do you need to find a job or gig in
What
e-commerce?
do you need to do?
I don't know if that
That's
means for an
interesting. So it
agency.
depends. It depends what role. No, it is because I'm not gonna lie, we struggle finding talent. Like, it's as weird as it
Mm,
sounds, like we struggle finding people that can run good ads. Like, anyone can run an ad, but can you run a profitable ad? And not many people can. And
okay.
so what I will say is, what do you want to do? Do you want to work at an agency? Do you want to work for a brand? I would start there. Once you have that set out, what do you enjoy most? Do you want to be a copywriter? Do you want to be a content creator? Do you want to be a paid ad specialist? E-commerce is such a broad term. Do you want to handle logistics? Like, what do you actually want to do? And once you figure that out, but so let's take it back to ads, I guess, because that's the business that we're in. I would go onto YouTube and I would go search how to run Facebook ads. Like, I'm going to be very biased. I've, again, part of my intro I never mentioned. I never went to study. Didn't study, just read a lot of books, came across a course, watched that. I linked with my business partner. Didn't know him at all, which is quite this crazy story. We didn't meet at all. We didn't know each other. We met, and obviously we built something good. And why I'm mentioning that story is, a lot of people have a misconception that I need to go study something at uni to get into the e-commerce space or to get into business, when in actual fact, a lot of that is on YouTube, this live that you're watching, and in books that you can read. So from an ad perspective, go on YouTube, type in Facebook ad tutorials 101. There's thousands of courses and videos available. Learn the basics. Then what I would do is I would approach a small brand. There's a lot of small startups on the e-commerce space, and ask them if you can run their ads for them with their budget so you could test your skill. When we hired our first media buyer, he had run his own dropshipping store, but wasn't really well versed. But what I liked was the initiative that he had already done something, so he understood how to run ads. And now if you could rate people in SA, I'd say he's in the top 20, top 30 paid ad specialists, because he knows what he's in, because it comes with time. But you need to obviously work on brands. So you can't just learn about ads and not test it, right? I would offer your free time and run ads with them.
Nice. You mentioned drop shipping. So obviously this was a topic last week as well on my live, and people wanted to know how to get into drop shipping in South Africa. I know there's obviously, using Shopify, but then selling abroad, essentially in the US or the UK, using the different plugins and all of that. But is there a market within South Africa and platforms within South Africa that are actually successful right
So
now, that
very,
are
very
selling within this
interesting. I don't know if
country?
he's still on
Oh,
that.
um,
I don't know if he's still on the chat. Aiden
oh no.
Skippers, he's a very good friend of mine. It depends what type of drop shipping you want to do,
Mm,
right? I think there's drop shipping, the commercial drop
yeah.
shipping, Amazon FBA, where you'll set up a store and it will ship from China to somewhere else, and you run paid ads, because that's the traffic source you need. Then you
Mm,
have, I guess, local drop shipping, where you'll bring the products in. Then you have a very interesting way that friends of mine are executing it, and one day I'd like to connect you guys, because he would be able to give you a lot more insights than I would, because I'm not in the dropshipping space. I run an e-com agency. I'm not a dropshipper. Where they trade products on Takealot. So they buy and trade on Takealot,
oh,
and they, if I'm correct, Aiden, if you're still here, you're telling me he was in the top 3 sellers on Takealot for how much product they were pushing. And I think it's a drop shipping model where they obviously bring products in, but they'll trade it on Takealot. And I think that is very lucrative. I think a lot of South Africans are looking abroad and saying, how do I sell outside, when there's a huge market locally
yeah,
to sell here?
market. 100%. I mean, if he's still on the call, I would definitely like to set up a call with him
For
maybe next
sure.
week and we can discuss
Sure.
dropshipping. Such a great space. So I'm actually going to hop onto our last question. I mean, if you guys obviously still have questions, please let us know. We are discussing e-commerce advertising. But I think it's probably, picking your brain for the last time. Can you share one of your winning formulas or tips for campaigns or revenue generating campaigns?
There's Aiden in the comment section. Um,
Oh, hi, Aiden. Aiden, I will DM you.
Repeat the question. You said, what are the top
Mm.
tips for online?
Yes, so I was saying, sorry, can you share one of your winning formulas or tips to create revenue generating campaigns for those that are in the dark and don't know where to start?
Interesting. It's a variable. It all comes down to content. That's as we've been running ads over the last, like I said, 2 years, I've started to understand that content is the differentiator. I've always said this though, like prior even the agency being at this point, that content is key. Like it's the differentiating factor between a good brand and a brand that fails. A friend of mine who has a really decent brand and is worth the case study is Rabia from Switch Beauty. Look at what she's been able to do. Great case study. You'll see all from the content she delivers. That will tell you everything about how a brand should be built. But there's no massive tips, Cleo. It's content, it's the right product, it's the right niche, it's how do you communicate that product. It all comes down to brand and marketing. Like, you can have a great product, but if you don't know how to market yourself well, you're done in the waters. And that's what I've seen between brands that we work with that do really well and brands that are just subpar, is the content. Like, we have brands that could really break through, but it's the effort in creating that content, because you're also dealing with other things. You've got your personal life, you've got family, you've got logistics, you've got partners, you've got product dev, you've got all of these things. So what I would say is focus on the marketing. If you're starting off, make sure that is set from the get-go. You don't need a lot of equipment and money to get started in that, and you'll be able to scale it up from there.
Awesome.
One thing I would say though is in the e-commerce space is, a lot of people want to start e-commerce brands just to start e-commerce brands without understanding the margins. I think that's something my business partner likes to drive home a lot, which is the margins. Like, how good are the margins? Anywhere plus 50% is great. So that means, what is your cost of goods? Your cost of goods, or how much does it cost to manufacture, bottle, and ship? And if you can get that all below 40% with a 60% margin, you're in a really good space. Because another differentiator is, now that you start an e-commerce brand, you have to drive traffic. And with traffic that comes money, and with money that comes,
And do you think those that obviously build their businesses, let's call it slow and steady, so it could be a side hustle, i.e. they still have their 9 to 5, but trying to, slowly build it from the side with the money that they have, is that something that will still have success at the end of the day? Or is it a bit of a, either you go all in or
no,
you don't?
You can. I don't think you can do one, or you have to do one or the other. I'm a big believer in going all in on one. If it fails, screw it. You'll start again from scratch. But manage your time. I think one thing people don't understand is, everyone's infatuated with this. Everyone's infatuated with this thing of starting a business, but don't understand that it takes a lot out of you. Like, you've got to develop the person first. Like, build yourself as a person, then build the business. Because if you as a person fail, or you're not in the best space, or you're not growing, the business won't grow. It's vice, it goes hand in hand. So I'd put measures in place to build yourself. Any tips on driving traffic?
We've got,
Any tips on driving traffic? Choose the right platforms. We think Facebook, on Facebook, it comes down to placements, right? So Facebook owns Instagram, so you can duplicate the ads and run them on both. I'd run ads on Facebook. I would learn how to I'd learn how to do lookalike campaigns and retargeting campaigns, right? So an ad funnel essentially that we use, I wish this was on a Zoom video so I could actually share screen, but you've got 3 parts of your funnel. You've got top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. Top of the funnel is you targeting a cold audience, people who don't know your brand, people who have never been in contact with you. You've got the middle of the funnel where you've had people come through to your site, look at a product, look at your website, shop but don't take action. Then you've got people at the bottom of the funnel that actually have taken action. So they've clicked the product, etc. They've even gone all the way to checkout, but they never actually purchased. So when running ads, you want to make sure that you're driving a lot of traffic at the top of the funnel. So how we advise our clients is, right, we have a minimum policy, or a policy that we don't spend, or we can't spend less than 10,000 Rand on ads. So to become a client, you have to spend 10,000 or more. And why is that? Because the CPMs are very expensive, cost per impression. So to actually get people to see your ads is starting to increase with the more businesses that are coming on board and people that are running ads. So what we do is we take that 10K budget, for example, and we'll allocate 50-60% of it to the top of the funnel campaigns. So you would run a tier 1 campaign, a broad audience, and you might, let's say in the beauty, you will target just everything beauty, for example. Women between 25 and 45, interested in beauty, skincare, what. Facebook will then give you, show you ads to those people. Those people come back to your site. Where it gets interesting and the skill you need to learn is how to remarket correctly. And the variable of that is the content. So what content do you use for remarketing? So we like to advise user-generated content. So that being a customer review. So I'm sure in America you've seen where people have this like face-to-camera videos of, hey guys, I just tried this product and one of those ones. Those work really well because you're seeing a like-minded person.
Yeah.
So you would remarket or retarget people that have been to your site with that kind of piece of content. At the bottom of the funnel, so you've shown, so that person who's now come to the site, you've retargeted, they've come back to the site because they never purchased, right? You will then give them an incentive. So with all our clients on our onboarding call, we advise them to give us an IPO, an intent-based offer. Generally, people don't use it. So that's a coupon code. I'm sure you've seen ads where they say, buy this product today and use code something 10 and get 10% off. It worked to entice customers to get back, but they don't always use it. But if they do, great. But you only show that to them people that have come from the middle of the funnel. And that's the remarketing. That's the science of you only speak to people at certain points that you want to engage with because they're the most likely to purchase from you. And what would happen indefinitely is that cost per purchase becomes a lot cheaper over time. I hope that makes sense. And that sounds a bit high level, but
no, that's super informative. Thank you. I can see people are like, this is so informative. They're loving this.
Yeah.
I think Ms. Lelo is saying, I'm going all in on one. If I die, I die.
Yeah, but I would run Facebook and Instagram
But
ads.
listen,
They're the most cheapest out of all the platforms that are available. And TikTok ads. We haven't, and we're going to experiment with it. It's just the thing about TikTok is it's the content. Like clients and brands don't want to go through. It's great if it's your own brand because you can go through the effort of creating that content. But for us, for argument's sake, like to go ahead and create content or ask brands to create content on TikTok is a lot because it's not just a video ad. It's the transitions, it's the communication, it's what you actually put in it, which is very time consuming for some people and they don't want to go through the effort of doing that. So test it out and try it. I think it would work.
Awesome. Thank you for this conversation. Guys, if you have any more questions, that was kind of the end of my questions, I guess. And as you can see, it's been super insightful. I don't see anything coming through. All right. But yeah, I will tag Nanga as well as the agency in the caption essentially once I post this to my page. And yeah, I'm sure we'll probably do some things in the future again as well because I'm super interested in what you guys do. And yeah, the space is, obviously it's growing in South Africa, like especially over this last period as well. So for those of you that want to still get in the space, I'm trying to plug you as much as information as I can. So yeah, stay tuned to my pages. Every Tuesday we'll be doing a live around something in the e-commerce space to kind of get your brand built up. And then,
sure. I don't know if it's worth it.
I'm
always an ideator. I just throw ideas out there, and it takes a lot out of me. I throw them out there. I'm telling you now, it's going to be hard for me to execute on this, but it's worth if people are interested. I mean, it's worth connecting with Aiden, and somehow we could create a joint junior course of how to do drop shipping in South Africa if that's needed, right? Or how to build your own brand in SA. Because I think what Aiden's also doing, correct me if I'm wrong, is they've helped another friend of theirs launch a business but trade on Takealot. So it's not going completely on your own, right? So it's, hey, let me help you build the brand, but you'll throw it on Takealot as well. And then again, I guess from our side, if you're trying to go on your ACE, we'd be able to, create a Facebook ad course that could work as well. So that's a conversation worth having.
I love it. And I'm seeing people are super hungry in the comments. So I think it's definitely a chat we should have offline. And maybe we'll hit you guys with something, maybe September, somewhere around there. Awesome. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming on the live and just sharing your
It was a
knowledge.
pleasure.
It's really appreciated. And yeah,
Lovely.
have a good
Yeah,
evening.
likewise.
And yeah,
Stay
we'll
blessed.
chat soon. Thank you guys for joining in.
Yeah.
See you
Ciao. Bye.
guys. Bye.